edge of this cool air mass. And so it's going to quickly move in and then quickly move out of the area. And then we'll actually start to warm things up as we head into the holiday week. And I know it's going to be a busy holiday week for a lot of us, a lot of people traveling. So the good news is it's not going to be brutally cold. We're actually trending to be fairly above normal. As we look to Saturday, that's expected to be the coolest day of the foreseeable future, as we'll see highs in the 20s. But then beyond that, even heading into Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, we're expecting highs in the 40s. That's about 10 to 15 degrees above normal. And it does look like it even trends higher as we look towards the end of the next week as well, where we could see temperatures in the upper 40s. So again, decent news for people who are traveling, but we'll talk about if we do see any systems that could impact us with that warmth coming up in 30 seconds.
Get ready, 2-for-1 deal. Get fast, reliable internet plus unlimited mobile for one incredibly low price with Mediacom. This deal is stacked. Get download speeds up to 250 meg and coast-to-coast mobile coverage with unlimited data. Powered by the mobile network awarded for best 5G reliability in the U.S. All for $49.99 a month for a year. That's 2 services for one amazing price. Call or shop online today.
All right, looking at the next 8 days, again, we have that chance for some rain and snow showers on Thursday, dry out for the weekend, but we do remain chilly. And then by next week, that storm track does stay a little close to the Midwest, so we could introduce maybe some rain chances as we head into next week. But as far as a white Christmas, if we do even see an overnight snow, it would probably quickly melt off if we're going to see those highs in the mid 40s. But again, any local travel plans so far seem good to go.
Yeah, it's like your present, your gift to the people who want warm weather. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It'll be a little comfortable, so not too bad. And it's a little bit of everything for anyone for the next 8 days.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. We have it all.
Yes.
All right. 11:35. Now get this, tomorrow, Taco Bell will start serving a more Americanized meal. The chain is offering chicken nuggets for a limited time. No kidding. They'll be marinated in a zesty jalapeno buttermilk, then coated in tortilla chips and breadcrumbs. The dips include tangy signature Bell sauce, a jalapeno-infused honey mustard, and spicy ranch. Well, if you've ever used Grubhub, you might be in for a payday. The online food ordering service will pay $25 million in a settlement with the Federal Trade Commission. The agency accused Grubhub of misleading customers about the cost of their delivery and drivers about how much money they could earn on the platform. Grubhub will now have to make substantial changes to its business operations. It must also stop adding junk fees to orders. Nearly all of the settlement money will be used to refund consumers. Well, they've long been seen as a symbol of the United States, and you may think the bald eagle has been our only official national bird for years, but that's not actually the case. In fact, the House only passed a bill this week to make the designation official. Heidi Wigdahl from our sister station in Minneapolis visited the National Eagle Center to find out how this effort took flight.
America and bald eagles go hand in hand, or wing in wing. But despite the long history, its status has been left up in the air.
Here we are for over 240 years. Probably just about every American you would ask, including those of us here at the National Eagle Center, just assumed that it was the national bird when in fact it was not.
Ed Hahn with the National Eagle Center in Wabasha says that discovery was made by the Minnesotan, whose massive eagle collection can be found on display at the center.
If it had an eagle on it, I'd buy it.
Preston Cook's obsession with the bald eagle led to his discovery that it was not officially the national bird. He set out to fix that with support from the National Eagle Center.
We see freedom. We see independence. We see power.
The iconography and the imagery is everywhere. Everything you can imagine, from the money that's in our pockets on coins and dollar bills, to postage stamps, to brand names and logos. It is everywhere.
The Senate passed the bill to make the bald eagle the national bird in July. The House followed Monday night. It received bipartisan support.
To paraphrase what I've heard him say many, many times, the bald eagle has a right wing and a left wing and needs both of them to soar gracefully in the sky. It's a wonderful present for the entire United States because now we officially have our national bird.
The National Eagle Center is open 6 days a week during the winter, where you can see some of Preston's collection. President Biden is expected to sign the bill in the near future. In Wabasha, I'm Heidi Wigdahl, KARE 11 News.
Still ahead, plant and garden expert Craig Hignight is in the studio with us. Head to our WQAD Facebook page right now and get your questions ready, as he's going to answer them coming up next.
You're watching GMQC at 11 on WQAD.
Well, it's Wednesday, and that means plants and garden expert Craig Hignight is joining us live to answer all of your burning questions. Good morning, Craig.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you again for coming in. Let's go ahead and get started. We planted burning bushes this fall. Should we cover or mulch for winter?
Well, I would definitely mulch. The ground is starting to freeze now, but if you can slow that down a little bit, you know, the ground is still somewhat warm. You're going to get a little more root activity before the ground actually freezes down for the winter. They're perfectly hardy in this area, so I don't think you have to do anything major in protection, although I think I would give them at least one more decent watering before the ground freezes up.
All right, we have Sharon asking, I dropped my aloe plant and broke some shoots. Do I need to do anything to the exposed broken part or just leave it alone?
Just leave it alone. It's going to dry up. You know, the aloe, you know, it's full of that gel that you put on your skin and everything, but the plant will heal itself. You can take advantage of those broken parts to get the aloe juice out of it if you've got a rash or anything.
How do I take care of an ice plant indoor?
Ice plant?
Ice plant.
Well,
Yes.
ice plants are normally an outdoor plant. There are just one or two that are hardy in this area, but it is a succulent. So you're going to give it as much light as you possibly can. You're going to run it a little bit dry between waterings, and you're definitely going to drain that excess that comes out of the pot when you do water it. Doesn't need a lot of fertilizer over the next couple of months, but watch that water. You don't want to damage it with too much water.
Curdy asking, I have a grape ivy plant that needs to be trimmed up. When is a good time to do that?
I think I'd probably wait until spring now. We are in those 16 dark weeks of winter right now. Plants are not doing an awful lot. Might get it over close to a window, but I would wait until about, say, Easter to start in on that pruning.
All right, someone says I have a mother-in-law plant that flowered, so there's that. And
If you let them get good and pot bound, that's when mother-in-law's tongues start to bloom, when they're absolutely pot tight.
Okay, okay.
interesting.
How to care for a Christmas cactus?
Well, Christmas cactus, the name's a little deceiving. It is a tropical cactus. So it likes even moisture. You let it dry down just a little bit between waterings. Again, drain the excess. Right now, keep it away from hot and cold drafts. If it's got buds on it, you could blast them if it got too drafty. We're going to kind of let it coast through the winter. Fertilizer-wise, we're going to do our fertilizing in May, June, and July. Those are the months that we fertilize the Christmas cactus. And remember, the cooler you can keep it, the more times it's going to bloom during the winter.
We have Chad asking, how do I get rid of those pesky bugs that are coming from my house plants?
Well, you're going to let the plant dry out a little bit. It's one of those things that fungus gnats, they seem to appear as if by magic, but they're being promoted by wet soil somewhere in your plant collection. So just take an eye on all your plants and make sure you're letting them dry down properly. Again, get that excess drained when you do water. That's where the excess water comes from. It's soaking up from the bottom after you water the plant.
All right, we'll continue to send your questions in to our WQAD Facebook page, and we're going to try to get to them right after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Good Morning Quad Cities at 11. We are, of course, talking to our plant and garden expert, Craig Hignight, and we're taking your questions through our live stream on the WQAD Facebook page, so be sure to go there if you want to ask a question. But we're starting now with Rick. In the greenhouse, do my repotted lemongrass plants need more water than indoor plants that I need to be careful not to overwater?
Well, no, you're going to treat the lemongrass as a house plant. I would suggest maybe getting your hands on a moisture meter, but they're just as touchy as any other plant about being overwatered. So, when you water thoroughly and let them dry down just a bit, knuckle and a half deep, The farther we get into winter and the more roots they put out, they're going to use more water. But right now, they've just been transplanted. They're still in shock, I can guarantee you.
What's the best board to mount my staghorn fern on?
I would use a piece of cedar or cypress. It rots away a lot slower than any other woods. Make sure that you get it attached firmly, no matter how you do it, because this plant is going to get heavy. And it doesn't have to be a huge board. You want something small enough that you can actually plunge that whole thing into a bucket of water when you're ready to water it. Now, the whole thing gets soaked, board and all, to absorb water. It helps raise the humidity around the plant, and that's what staghorns like.
Gina saying, is there a weed killer you can use in a garden and still eat the veggies?
Well, if you're very careful, you can use most any weed killer in the garden, but it's all a matter of masking your desirable plants. And this would be a vegetable garden or a perennial garden, wherever. As long as you keep the herbicide off of your desirable plant, once that herbicide hits the ground, it's gone. It is deactivated. So keep the herbicide on the weeds and off of the desirable plants, and you're going to be just fine.
Can I remove the dead leaves from my witch hazel bush?
I'm not sure that that's absolutely necessary. You could go out, some plants tend to hold their leaves after they die. Bradford pears are known to hold leaves well through the winter, and it's not necessary to take them off unless they're bothering you, and then you can go out and pick them off.
All right, Sandy says, I have a moisture meter. My cacti are always very dry. How do you use a meter and how soon after you water?
Okay, the meter, when you're done watering, that meter should flop clear over to the wet side. And it will come down very, very, very slowly. Check it every couple of 3 days. And when you finally get down to the dry setting on the meter, it's time to take the cactus and water it thoroughly. They're just like any other house plant in that respect. And then it's going to go to the wet side. And, one thing, don't leave the meter in the plant. You probe, it should read instantly, and then you take it out, wipe it off, and set it off to the side until you have to use it again. Dry, when you water, it should go clear to the wet side when the plant is fully watered.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Craig.
We're out of time.
Yeah, it goes
It's going to be 3
so
weeks.
fast.
3 weeks. I'm being preempted by Christmas and New
That's
Year.
right.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
that is a good reminder. We do want to let people know, because this is one of our favorite segments, right? Every week.
Yeah, so
But the
in
next
2
2 weeks,
Yeah.
yes, we will not have the newscast here. So yes, we'll just
So remember your questions and then
hold on to
maybe we'll
them.
get some extra time for you after your
Okay.
turn.
Merry Christmas.
Yes, thank you as always. You can always join our Facebook Live, of course, with Craig, and that's always on Wednesdays, but just not for the next 2 weeks due to the holidays. Well, here's a live look from our Bridgepoint camera in downtown Moline. GMQC at 11. We'll be right back. But first, let's send it over to our friends at ABC with a look at what's coming up on GMA.